This past Sunday, Xbox put on their summer showcase, and well, there's really no other way to say this. They absolutely nailed it. Let's get into it. This year has certainly had its ups and downs for Xbox. They started off the year strong with an exciting developer direct, but in recent months, they've had several low points with layoffs, studio closures, and a change in business direction that fueled fears that the company was going to go third party and exit the console business for good. Needless to say, Xbox had a tall task ahead of them as far as restoring people's confidence in the Xbox brand and getting them excited for the future of the platform. So after an underwhelming Summer Game Fest and PlayStation State of Play, all eyes were on Xbox to see if they would turn the tides and win back some of their fans and put on the best showcase of the summer. I can't speak for everyone, but to me, they did just that, and my excitement for the future of Xbox this year and beyond is restored. I don't think this showcase was just a good one. I think it's quite possibly the best showcase that Xbox has ever put on, but I do have some minor things to nitpick and some reveals that I was hoping to get that didn't show up. Let's jump into some of my personal highlights of what we got to see, and it was a lot. The show opened with a trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and since we got a 25-minute deep dive on it immediately after the show, I'll save my thoughts on that for later. After COD, the first trailer we got to see was that of Doom, The Dark Ages, a prequel of sorts to the Doom franchise that has the Doomslayer going back to medieval times and causing all sorts of havoc and carnage to hordes of demons. The game looks absolutely stunning, and they showed off a variety of new weapons from a chainsaw shield to a skull-crushing weapon, aptly named the Skull Crusher. While I haven't really played a Doom game before, this one looks right up my alley, with large open areas, medieval aesthetic, tons of gore, and an awesome soundtrack. While fans of the series were worried about how the music of the new Doom would sound after id Software's falling out with composer Mick Gordon, the music playing in the trailer should put some of those fears to rest, as this game is looking pretty awesome, and it should be out sometime next year for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And while some might be upset about the game coming to PlayStation, I don't think it's a big issue, as previous Doom games were also on PlayStation, and the Dark Ages will be launching into Game Pass on day one, which will incentivize many people like myself to play it there. Now, one thing that Xbox knew it needed to do when putting together this showcase was quell a lot of the fear and uncertainty about some of the games that were revealed years ago, but that fans have heard little about since, which is why I was happy to see that immediately after Doom: The Dark Ages, we got a brand new trailer for State of Decay 3. While the trailer doesn't show off a ton as far as how the game would work and all the new features and systems that would be in it, what it did show off was that this game is going to look miles above the previous two State of Decay games. I'll be honest, I first thought this was another CGI trailer for the game, and it left me feeling a little bit underwhelmed. But since the showcase, a little bit more information has come out about the game via an Xbox Wire article, talking about the fact that the trailer was shot in-engine with in-game assets, and has minor gameplay elements being shown off, such as a new and reactive dismemberment system. With the game shaping up to be bigger and more beautiful than ever before, my excitement has grown exponentially, and it's now one of my highlights from a show that was packed with many of them. I can't wait to learn more about State of Decay 3, and I hope we won't have to wait too much longer for more information, but the lack of a release date has me thinking this game will be coming out in 2026 at the earliest. We also got a look at Starfield's first big expansion, Shattered Space, which is going to be focusing on House Va'ruun and all the secrets they're holding onto. One of the biggest things that was missing from Starfield's base game as far as story goes was the whereabouts of House Va'ruun and what they're up to. The new expansion looks to be finally pulling back the sheet on that mystery, and I'm excited to see where that story goes and how my favorite companion, Andreja, will react to it, especially since she herself was a part of House Va'ruun. The new environment looks really beautiful with lots of hues of pink, purple, and blue, and I'm excited to dive in and learn more. I haven't played Starfield since last year, but with the Shattered Space expansion coming out this fall and a slew of updates and improvements coming out leading up to then, I can't wait to pick it up again and continue on my spacefaring journey. There was also a minor shadow drop for Starfield, as the creation kit is now in the game, with people able to download community mods as well as new bounties and places for the player to explore. We weren't given a firm release date yet for the expansion, but with all the recent updates to the game, I'm stoked to see how much has changed when I jump back in. Keeping on the theme of expansions for Bethesda games, we were then treated to a fun little trailer for Fallout 76's map expansion, Skyline Valley, which is out now and is being touted as the first map expansion for the game, implying that others are on the way. The new area looks cool as there are a ton of points of interest, quests, enemy types, and the valley has a visually striking look as there's a crimson sky with a constant storm circling above, adding a new element for players to worry about. It was also revealed that next year people will be able to play as ghouls if they want to, which is something that Fallout fans have been wanting for a long time and have only been able to achieve via mods. I've admittedly played a ton of Fallout 76 over the last couple of months, and so far I've really been enjoying the story behind this expansion and exploring everything it has to offer. Right after that, we got a world premiere for Expedition 33, an upcoming RPG that looks absolutely stunning. The game focuses on a quest to defeat a godlike creature called the Paintress, who paints a number and everyone of that age vanishes into nothingness. The world and characters look really beautiful, and it blends elements of turn-based combat with real-time mechanics, and is set to be coming out sometime next year. I really like the unique look of this game, and I'll definitely be jumping in when it comes out in 2025. We also got our first look at gameplay for South of Midnight, which I gotta say, it's looking really solid. I was genuinely surprised to see the game turn up at this showcase, since we just got a reveal for it at last year's Xbox Game Showcase. I'm loving the art style in this game, and the combat and traversal look pretty fun. The setting is also pretty unique, as it utilizes Deep South lore and characters, so I'll definitely be giving this game a shot when it's set to come out sometime in 2025, which, man, I gotta say, 2025 is looking stacked. We then come to what is easily one of the biggest highlights of the show for me, Perfect Dark, and what I saw left me floored. There are a lot of rumors and uncertainty about the game floating around prior to the showcase, with some people reporting that the game might have been going through development issues, and other sources claiming that it was alright. So in my opinion, Xbox needed to come out and set the record straight on the state of the game, and boy did they deliver. We got a nice little slice of gameplay, which showcased some of the immersive sim elements, stealth, parkour, and classic espionage tropes. While we didn't get a release date for the game, it looks like it's shaping up really nicely, and I'll be playing it day one whenever it does come out. My guess is the game will be coming out in 2026, but I hope the initiative and Crystal Dynamics take all the time they need to get this game right, because it does look like it has the chance to be an exciting entry into the stealth and espionage genre. Another game I was shocked to see at the showcase this year was Fable, which is quickly becoming my most anticipated Xbox game. This game looks absolutely amazing, and Playground Games seems to have nailed the tone and humor of the game, which is a huge part of Fable. I think the new protagonist looks great and seems really badass. Maybe it was just me, but I think the trailer is subtly alluding to the morality system in the game, as Humphrey, the character shown off in the trailer, talks about how someone, quote, made all the wrong choices, and how their power was terrifying. I can't wait to get a deep dive into this game and see the different mechanics and systems that it has to offer. It was also revealed that the game is slated to come out next year, so presumably we'll get a deep dive into it at next year's Developer Direct. We also got another look at Avowed this year, and I think this game definitely had a better presentation than it did last year. Obsidian is one of my favorite developers, and I've loved all of their most recent games, from Outer Worlds to Pentiment to Grounded. I'm excited to see them take the style of RPG they did in Outer Worlds and see it applied to a fantasy setting, which is honestly one of my favorite genres in gaming. The game looks to be much improved graphically speaking, and it looks like the combat has been polished up a bit more as well. We were even granted an additional deep dive into the game via the official Xbox podcast, where game director Carrie Patel goes more in depth about the combat and some of the systems in the game. The game is slated to come out this fall, and Obsidian accidentally leaked a release date of November 12th before deleting that post, so hopefully they're just waiting till they can be sure that they'll hit that target date. But either way, I'm excited for this game nonetheless. Now, while I'm traditionally not a Call of Duty guy, I gotta say, Black Ops 6 is looking pretty fun. I probably will play the campaign more than the multiplayer, but I really liked the deep dive into the game and all that it has to offer. The Omni movement looks like a pretty fun new addition to the game that should shake up multiplayer, with people now being able to sprint in all directions, slide, dive, and more. The story looks pretty interesting, as it takes place during the early 90s and promises to offer a ton of memorable missions throughout the campaign, including pulling off a heist in a casino. As someone who doesn't play COD too often, I'm glad this is launching into Game Pass day one, and I'm curious to see how it helps the Xbox subscription service. Also, between last year's Starfield Direct and this year's Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Direct, I gotta say, I'm really appreciative for this new format that Xbox is going with, as it really gives a deeper idea into the making of games, and I think that's something that's needed more in this industry. With the showcase showing off close to 30 games and 18 of them coming into Game Pass day and date, there's almost certainly something for everyone here, even if some of it didn't speak to me. While not everything shown off is going to be for everyone, it's hard to deny that pretty much everything they showed looks to be of good quality, and I think Xbox achieved what they set out to do with this showcase: restore confidence in the brand and the output of its first-party titles. All that being said, this wasn't a perfect showcase, and there are some things that I would have liked to have seen. For one, I wish we had more concrete release dates for things that were coming out this year, such as Starfield Shattered Space expansion, Avowed, and others. But I also understand developers wanting to wait until they're absolutely sure they can hit a deadline before they announce the release date. I was also surprised to see that we didn't have any announcements regarding backwards compatible Activision, Blizzard, and King titles, since Xbox now sits on a huge library of legacy games. And with Call of Duty being a focus of this year's Direct, it would have been cool to see some of the older COD titles come to Game Pass for people to play, especially since some of the servers were put back online last year. And that's about it for me. Let me know what you thought of the showcase and what your game of the show was in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to be able to make more videos like this in the near future, including my personal experience getting to go to the Xbox Fan Fest event in LA, and deeper dives into some of my most anticipated upcoming Xbox titles like Fable, Avowed, Perfect Dark, and more. Be kind to each other, enjoy your games, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Plush Deathcry, signing out.